So there I was, live on Instagram. And you know who was with me? Coach Alex.
Hey everybody, how you doing? All right. Well, why don't we get started? Just so you know, today we'll be doing a few blade work exercises. So if you've got a saber handy, it's going to be saber focused. You can get that out. If not, if you've got, say, a stick or something, that works too. And if not, it's perfectly fine to just do the old thumbs up and move your thumb as if it were the saber blade. That'll work just fine too.
Yeah.
Anyway, why don't we get started? We're gonna do some cardio like we usually do. I've got a jump rope because I like to do that. You can jump rope too if you got a jump rope, or you're welcome to run in place or whatever works for you, jumping jacks. Do people still have those like step things, or did that die in the 90s?
It's, they still make them. So if you, if you got one of those like step up things, you could do that.
Yeah, and whatever works for you, whatever's fun, whatever gets your blood pumping. You know, that's all we're trying to do. Is raise our heart rate a bit, so we're ready for some more exercise. People have been enjoying the good weather we've been having.
Yes, I know I have been looking forward to taking the dog out more and more the past couple days. So that's been a good one.
Nice.
How about you? Have you been able to get out at all? Do some stuff?
Yeah, I reactivated my Pokemon Go account. So
there you go.
Yeah. There are twice as many stops around my house now since when I first started playing, so that's cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a game that I got into it a tiny bit when it first came out, and then
me too.
I just got distracted by other stuff and then never really got back to it. But I heard
that's kind of what happened to me too.
Yeah, and I heard it got pretty big. There's a lot of people who are very serious about it.
One of my family's still into it, so that helps. All right, starting to get warmed up, I guess.
Well, good.
I'll just do this about a minute or so. Nah, probably less. We've been at it for a few minutes. All right, that feels like enough. I feel warmed up.
Yeah, it's
So
been about 3 minutes, so that's right on time.
okay. All right. We'll do some dynamic stretching. So open the gate. Remember, keep your hips square. I like to put my hands on my hips to help keep them lined up. And you're gonna lift you up your knee, turn it off to the side, and put it back down. And then same thing with the other one. Up, to the side, and down. Try to get that full range of motion when you do this. And close the gate, which is the same thing in reverse. Knee off to the side and in. All right, pretty good. Do some stretching now. I like to sit down to start off. And I'm gonna have one leg off to the side like this. Try to keep your knees straight and reach out towards your toe. If you can touch your toe, you're doing awesome. If you're really flexible and you can go past, even awesomer. And if you can't, if this is as far as you go, that's as far as you go. All right, it's not about winning any contests. We're here to improve our fitness. So as long as you are getting a stretch, regardless of how far you are stretching, you're doing good. All right. Oh yeah, other hand goes over. I like to do the stretches this way. And slow, deep breaths. Try to relax your muscles as you do this.
You know, I was listening to a fitness podcast that I like.
Yeah.
And they were talking about
Other side, by the way, if you're not already doing it.
Oh yeah, they're talking about like training goals, and one particular person wrote in and asked about soreness, and like, hey, when I'm exercising, I'm not getting as sore as I used to be. What's going on with that? So the host, of course, was like, well, I mean, when you do an exercise that's not super familiar to you, you're gonna be sore the first couple of times you go through it.
All right, everybody, feet apart, and you're gonna reach down the middle.
But the objective is not to be sore necessarily. Although for some people that may seem like an objective that they want to strive for. But in that case, it's much more like a masochistic kind of desire to feel like they did, a lot of work, and they're sore the next day because they did the most stuff. But in reality, that's not really a useful kind of metric to measure progress. So if you're doing something like this where you're stretching, it might be a little sore, but
stretching's not something you want to be sore after. Usually when you do more like weights and stuff, those kinds of exercises, those you tend to be sore. That's common and that's pretty normal.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's stand up.
Sure thing.
Check yourself out a little bit. And then I'm just gonna bend at the hips and kind of flop over. Use the weight of your head and your shoulders to pull yourself down and stretch out these hamstrings back here on the back of your legs. Yeah, you were saying about soreness, sorry?
Sure.
Cut you off.
Oh yeah, no, not at all.
I'm interested to hear more about this actually.
Yeah, so I mean, soreness is a kind of a natural byproduct of doing exercises that are new to you and your body making adaptations to this new exercise. So, but it's not a really good indicator of progress. So if you're doing an exercise with weights or resistance of some other kind, and you're not getting sore, it doesn't mean necessarily that you've stopped improving.
All right, and everybody, let's stand back up now. Move on to the next thing, which is the IT band stretch. So, one foot behind the other, and you're gonna bend. It's whichever foot stayed in front, you're gonna bend towards that one. So my right foot is in front, I'm gonna bend to my right, which is this way. Sorry, Tyler, I don't mean to keep cutting you off. I'm just keeping things moving.
I don't think people are tuning in to hear me ramble about some podcasts that I listen to. I mean, it's a fringe benefit.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the primary thing that people tuned in for.
Fair enough. You're probably right. All right.
That was about it anyways. It's just, knowing which kind of metrics you want to be measuring your success by, and not getting confused about what is progress.
All right. Anyway, let's go the other way. So the other foot, whichever one was in front is now going to cross behind, and you're going to lean to the other direction. And try to keep your shoulders, I want to say square with your hips, but you're bent in a weird position. So try to avoid leaning over like this. I actually like to kind of look up at the ceiling. It helps me keep me aligned properly. Alright, and back up. Alright. Shake yourself out if you're feeling a little stiff. Let's do some hip flexors. So you're going to do kind of like a soccer lunge. Get down on one knee, and if you're on hardwood, you might want to put something soft under your knee to make it a little more comfortable. Not necessary, but you might want it. Anyway, on one knee, you're going to keep your hips square. So I'm actually going to put my hands on my hips again to help me do this. Keep your back straight, and you're going to rock your hips forward just a little bit till you feel a stretch right here in front of your hip. All right, and then I'm going to add a little something. This is something I learned last night because I was looking at fitness stuff yesterday too, is you're going to lean towards whichever foot is in front of you. So kind of away from the stretch towards the foot that's sticking out. And that's going to stretch the hip flexor and some of the muscles we got earlier with the IT band as well. But I really like the way the stretch feels.
That's a really great adaptation to add additional tension in that hip flexor group. Because normally you'd have to pick up your trailing leg and put it on a chair to improve that. So,
actually, I saw that one too, and that's
so
cool.
This
but
is
yeah,
sweet.
It takes more stuff. All right,
I'm way into that.
I'm gonna stand up, switch legs. So, kind of like a soccer lunge, kneeling down, and I'm sticking my toe out the back because I'm not really trying to do anything with that part of my leg. So I'm just letting my foot lay flat like that. And then, hips square. Try to keep your back straight and upright, like you're standing tall, and then rock your hips forward a little bit till you start to feel that stretch right there in the front. And then if you want some more stretch, you can lean other way. So away from the stretching leg towards the one that's in front of you. All right, and let's stand back up. Let's do one more. These are ankle rolls. So I do kind of an easy version. You stand on one foot, and you just kind of turn your toe around in a circle like this. If you need to steady yourself on something, by the way, that's fine. You know, standing on one foot and doing stuff is tricky. All right, let's go the other direction. And make sure you're not just doing little circles. You're actually trying to use your full range of motion when you do this. That's how you get the stretch. So as far up to the side, down, and to the inside as your toe can possibly go. All right, and switch feet. Standing on the other foot. Little circles with your toe. Remember, try to stretch out all the little muscles, the tendons in your ankle. And let's go the other direction. All right. Feeling pretty good. We should be nice and limber now. Let's come on guard. I'm going to do it here with the line, so I have a little reference as to how far I've traveled. Because I know not everybody has a full strip in their house to do this on, so I'll try to keep this compact. All right, so good on guard. You're gonna step out, put your heels underneath your shoulders, whichever foot or whichever hand you write with, that foot is sticking out 90 degrees, and you're gonna bend your knees and squat. All right, there you go, in an on guard. Keep your shoulders back, keep standing up straight. Looking good. All right, if you want to put your hands in an on guard position, that's good. I tend to like to do this or this. Put your hands on your hips or across your chest. What I don't want is you trying to steady yourself when we do these, because your hand has to fence, and if you're using it for balance, you can't fence with it. So you put your hands here, or practice an on guard. But this puts your hands away so that you aren't relying on them to steady yourself. You are relying on just having good posture and good balance to begin with. Anyway, let's get going. I'm gonna do this because I feel important when I cross my arms. All right, so we're gonna step forward, put your heel on the ground, and just stay there for a second. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my foot down, and as my toe touches the ground, I'm gonna bring my back foot up, so. And I'm gonna try and make my toes on both feet hit the ground at the same time. So step out and together. Step out, together. Step out, together. And what this does is it gets you good at resetting your position so that you're back in on guard as soon as your step is done. The thing I'm trying to avoid, I'll show you how to do it wrong, is like that, because that gives you a long lag at the end of each advance. All right, each step I have to do this long motion before I can step again. But if my feet are together, if they're synced up, all right, I can move right away. So here we go, step out. Remember, heel first, and then both toes at the same time. Step. And I'm stomping. You don't have to stomp this loud. I'm doing it for emphasis. All right, let's try it in reverse. So this foot first, step out. You're gonna land on the toe because you can't really do heel toe with the retreat. And then you're gonna bring this foot up as you reset your foot. Like that. So step out, snap. Step out. So place your foot and then bring it all together. So your feet go back into their starting position at the same time. Nice. Let's do one more set. Do some advances. So heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. All right, and let's reverse it now. So retreats. All right. Let's see if we can do double advances now. So, bop, 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 bop. Once again, you're trying to get that feet, both toes together at the same time sort of deal going. But now we're doing 2 steps, no pause in between. Bop, 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 bop. Heel toe, heel toe. Heel toe, heel toe. All right, let's do retreats now. Toe, toe, step, toe, and come. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. let's do some direction changes now. So it's going to be what we did before, ba 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 ba, and then into a ba ba, retreat. So ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. So one thing I want you to notice, my tempo, whether I'm going forwards or backwards, exactly the same. And that is something I want all of you to be good at doing. Because if it's slow, it's generally a good indicator of there's something up with your technique that needs to be solved. If you're on balance and taking small steps, like us coaches are always telling you, you should be having an easy time keeping your steps even. So, I'll call out the rhythm to help you. So do this with me. Here we go. Ba 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 ba. 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 All right, let's try it in reverse now. Retreat, retreat, advance. Retreat, retreat, advance. Retreat, retreat, advance. Ba 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 ba. 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 All right. So let's do good old you know what's, because that's kind of the next natural progression. So if you haven't done this already a million times, it's advance, advance, retreat, advance, lunge, recover. And once again, focus on keeping your tempo nice and even through all those direction changes. So here we go. Advance, advance, retreat, advance, lunge. Ba 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 ba, lunge. Ba 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 ba, advance, lunge. All right, let's do it in reverse now. So, retreat, retreat, advance, retreat, lunge, and recover. Don't forget to recover from your lunges. Retreat, retreat, advance, retreat, lunge, recover. Retreat, retreat, advance, retreat, lunge, recover. Try to get good long advance, or long lunge out of that. Retreat, retreat, advance, retreat, lunge, recover. 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 Tripping over my own sequence. Let's try one more set. So here we go. Advance, advance, retreat, advance, lunge, recover. Advance, advance, retreat, advance, lunge, recover. By the way, if some of you are like seasoned fencing vets and you can go faster than this, go for it. This is your chance to go all out. Push yourself. I'll just keep it slow in case there are beginners who want to follow along the rhythm. All right, here we go. Advance, advance, retreat, advance, lunge, recover. Advance, advance, retreat, advance, lunge, recover. Now in reverse. Retreat, retreat, advance, retreat, lunge, recover. Retreat, retreat, advance, retreat, lunge, recover. Retreat, retreat, advance, retreat, lunge, recover. It's hard to do while talking. Retreat, retreat, advance, retreat, lunge, recover. Retreat, retreat, advance, retreat, lunge, recover. All right, pretty good. Let's move on to blade work. So I'm gonna get a saber. If you have a saber or just a stick, French grip foil will probably work. I don't know about a pistol. If not, like this, remember, the saber blade is just a giant thumb. All right, so we're going to come on guard I'm going to come on guard facing you so you can see this a little better. For a saber on guard, you want to make sure your hand is far enough to the right, or if you're left-handed, to the left, that your side is protected. You're closing off everything over here, closing that option off to your opponent. If you put it in the middle, they have 3 options. They can hit you here, they can hit you here, they can hit you here. But if you put it off to the side like this, they have 2. That one, here, and here. One less thing to worry about. Another detail, slant your blade just a little bit. If you slant it a lot, you're not protecting anything. But slanting it a little bit makes somebody who hits slide down because they're running into that angled blade. And they'll slide down and get caught right in here. And here, if you've taken physics, you'll know that you have mechanical advantage and you are a lot stronger than they are when they're stuck right in there. So no matter how big and strong your opponent is, if you can catch the blade right in this little corner of your guard here, you will always overpower them. So that's what you want. Get them right in there. Funnel their blade right to that spot. All right. So on guard, also parry number 3. Cool. So if I were to attack you, wait, people are right-handed, right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. All right. If somebody attacks you this way, you should be confident in your on guard and not have to move. All right. So imagine they've parried you, thick, and now you're a post. And all that is, reach out with your hand and drop your thumb as you do it. And this reaching out motion should cause your point to drop. There's no need to lift up your hand and swing. This is what everyone wants to do. They want to club. And all you're really doing is just tapping them with the end of your thumb. All right, so let's get on guard. Practice this motion a couple times. So in our parry 3 or on guard, click or post. Yep, stick your hand out, let that point sink down. It's kind of a relaxation motion. You let your muscles in your hand relax and that point just drops. All right, parry, click, riposte. Parry, and riposte. Good, on guard, parry, riposte. On guard, parry, and riposte. All right. Cool, that one should be pretty easy. Let's go over to parry 4. So, if they attack you over on this side of you, you're going to turn. You're going to start by turning your hand. You always want to lead with the sword. So turn the hand, and then your arm is going to follow after. All right. You're standing sideways, so you don't have to go very far. If you are here, if you have a mirror. You might not have a mirror handy now, but you can practice this on your own time later. Move until the inside of this guard lines up with your stomach. That's usually just enough to stop whips. So, over. And I'm going to turn to the side so you can see another thing. Parry out in front of you, because even though you're parrying, like you're guarding your side, you don't want to actually stick your blade behind you like that, because that's no good. That doesn't protect anything. Your attacker is always on that side of you, always in front of you. So you put your blade in front of you. So as you can see, I'm actually reaching out a little bit because my hand is fairly far back in my on guard. So parry 4 and back to on guard. Make sure you have an angle in your blade here. It's going to angle this way. You can parry 4, and when you go back to on guard, it's going to angle this way, just a little bit. So parry, remember to reach out, and on guard. And remember to keep your hand low as well. Your target goes all the way down to your hip bones in saber. So make sure you're low enough that you're defending that so they can't, say, get sneaky and go underneath. So parry, and back. Okay, if you've got the hang of that position, let's go parry 4, and now reach out and riposte. We're gonna do the standard riposte to the top of the head. I know there's a million different ripostes you can do. We're gonna do this one. So it's very reliable. So, parry and riposte. And make sure when you reach out that you're not reaching out in front of where you parried, but you're reaching out from your own shoulder. This should be the exact same position as when you riposte from 3. So if I riposte from here, I end up like this. If I riposte from here, I end up in the exact same spot. All right, on guard. We'll do a couple reps of this. So parry 4 and riposte. On guard. Parry 4, parry in front of you, riposte, and on guard. Parry 4, and riposte, on guard. Parry 4, and riposte, on guard. Parry 4, and riposte, on guard. All right. Pretty good. Let's do parry 5. So this is protecting your head. So from on guard, this is definitely one of the more technical saber parries. First thing you want to do is you want to turn your hand, again, just like 4, you lead with the hand. So turn, and this is very important with 5, because if you move your arm first, you go over their blade and they hit you anyway. So you're going to turn like this, so that your blade is now underneath. Remember, they're cutting at you like this. So your blade is now underneath, and you can rise up and parry them. Lift up. If you have a mirror, you'll be able to see that this corner here, which is where you're going to catch their sword, is above your head. If you don't have a mirror handy, take a look at your forearm. It should be just about level with the ground. If it's lower than that, you're probably not protecting yourself if you got this downward angle. So make sure you're high enough that your arm, this upper arm, is level with the floor. This might be a little awkward for you if you're not used to fencing. So be sure each time you parry, take a look at that. This isn't about, so you have time to take a look at yourself and check out your form. So here we go. Turn, raise up, keep your wrists straight, no bending this way or that way, and parry in front of you, just like with parry 4. The hand is fairly far out. If you don't want to parry close to you, that just lets their blade come close to your target. Keep it far away. And last thing, a little bit of an angle. Just like with 4, there's a little bit of an angle this way. 3 has a little bit of an angle this way. 5 is going to have a little bit of an angle like that. And that just makes their blade sliding get caught right here, where you have so much mechanical advantage that even, those guys who win the strongest man on earth competitions will never be able to push through your guard. All right, I see a skeptical look from Tyler. I don't think they would. I think the sword would break before they pushed through, before they overpowered you. Anyway, that's a side topic. Anyway, correct form. Remember, turn first. Get underneath their blade. Don't go over the top. Get under their blade and lift up. And catch them right there. All right, let's go back to on guard. Turn your blade and lift up. Make sure your elbow is even with your shoulder. If it's lower than your shoulder, you're probably not defending yourself very well. All right, back to on guard. Turn your blade and up. On guard. Turn your blade and up. On guard. Turn your blade and up. And on guard. Turn the blade, raise up. Oh, I didn't point this out. Make sure your elbow points down too. Everybody wants to do this because this is a more natural motion. It's actually more efficient to raise straight up like this, but it's much more awkward. It's just not a motion you do. But keep your elbow pointed down at the ground. This is going to take quite a few reps to become natural. All right, on guard, turn. See, my elbow is still pointing down. I haven't turned my shoulder. I'm just turning from the wrist. and then lift up, and my elbow still points down. It's at the same height as my shoulder, but it's pointing straight down at the ground. All right, and back down. And by the way, when you're on guard, it should be the same position. Turn your blade, raise up, back to on guard, turn your blade, raise up, and back to on guard. I'm doing extra reps of this one because this one's quite a bit more technical than the other two. So we're getting the extra practice in to make sure we can do all three parries equally well. All right, let's do the riposte now. The riposte is also kind of tricky. So, I'm gonna turn and raise to get into that parry. And now, it's a little bit tricky to demonstrate without a partner, but their blade is gonna be right here, their guard is gonna be right here. This is true whether they're left or right-handed. Their guard's gonna be more or less right in front of them. So, if you just reach out and hit, you're gonna slam into that guard, and you're not gonna hit them. So what you gotta do, use your imagination. You can imagine there's a blade right here in front of them, like this, or right here in front of you, like this. You're gonna slip off, like this. Oh, thank you, Tyler. All right, let's see. Hopefully you guys can all see that at home. There's a blade like this. I can't push through because there's metal in the way, but if I slip off, like this, now I have a clear shot. So here's the thing you got to get used to. It's a turn from the wrist only. You want to always move as little as possible when you do fencing actions. You're going to turn from the wrist, and you're going to turn until this blade points straight back behind your head. In fact, if you're doing this at home, take a look. Your point should be all the way back there, pointing straight back at the wall behind you. If it's not, you're probably not off their blade. Make sure it points straight back, and then if your elbow's in a good position, it's not sticking out like this, all you have to do is straighten, and you've got a cut. And you should have a clear shot right to their head, whether you're fencing a righty or a lefty. So, here we go. On guard. Let's try the whole sequence. Turn the blade and raise up, and then slip off. Make sure that blade points all the way back behind you, and now reach out for the cut. All right, back to on guard. Turn and raise, slip off, and reach out. And let that point drop down onto their head. Turn and raise, get underneath their blade, and then slip off for the post. Turn and raise, and slip off. Turn and raise, and slip off. Turn and raise, and slip off. If any of you are lucky enough to have a practice partner at home or can fashion a training dummy, this would be a good use to practice this motion and not getting caught on the blade as you try to do it, especially if you are getting good enough where you want to try and improve your speed. That's where you really need something physically there to tell you whether you've done it right or if you've rushed it too much and you've screwed it up. So I'm just going to do it slow because I don't have anything. I'm going to just watch my technique carefully. Do everything one step at a time. Up, slip off, and hit. Turn and raise, slip off, and hit. Turn and raise, slip off, and hit. Turn and raise, slip off, hit. Turn and raise, slip off, hit. Turn, raise, slip off, and hit. Turn, raise, slip off, and hit. All right. So now that we've had a good amount of practice on the three most common parries in Saber, we're gonna practice a little bit more, or we're gonna practice some reactions. So I'm not gonna make it super hard, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have my blade kind of, well, in preparation, and then I'm going to stick it forward. So if I do this, you're going to do the appropriate parry. So that will be parry 4 if you are right-handed, and parry 3 if you are lefty. If I do, no, did I get it wrong? What do I usually think? I'm like, lefty, right? Yeah, well, anyway, if I'm attacking you on this side, put your blade there. Alright. So, that's a parry, and don't forget to riposte. And if I do this, put your blade there. So, some of you will have to move, and some of you, this will be on, you're on guard. So, remember, parry, and then riposte. Parry, and riposte, good. And then if I go here, remember, turn the blade and then raise up. If you try to rush, you'll go over their blade and you won't stop anything. So get underneath and raise up, and then turn to slip off and hit. All right, here we go. Yep, turn, come under, and then slip off to hit. Nice. Yep, come underneath, and then slip off to hit. Good. Yeah, most of your righties won't have to move for that one. That should be easy. Yep. Turn, come underneath, and then slip off. Nice, and that one's the easy one for lefties. Yep. Underneath, and slip off. Underneath, and slip off. Yep. Looking good. And don't feel you have to race me. I would much rather you have your technique right than you be able to do this fast. There we go. In the future, when we're able to do this in person again, I can start showing you the subtleties of how to use distance to control how much time you get to react. But for now, just focus on getting that technique right. There we go. That. Make sure you're coming underneath. You're not going over the top. And then make sure you also do that slip. Elbow is down, so all you have to do is reach out. There we go. Nice. And parry. Make sure your hand stays low when you do this, especially if you have somebody who likes to get tricky and try to go underneath. You want to make sure you're blocking off all of your target area. Nice. Nice. Yep. Raise up, slip off. Nice. Nice. All right. I think that'll be it for today. So everybody, feet together, attention, and salute. All right. And until we can see you again in person, we will see you on the internet. So stay safe, stay hydrated, and we'll catch you next time.